Hello there, Shortcuts. This is Stephen here with video 2 from this week. This will be the 30th price list of the year, and it will go out as usual this Wednesday, the 13th of August at 9 p.m. Sydney time. If you would like to be on the list, but don't receive the price list, but would like to buy some of these records, drop me an email, shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com. This is a classic rock list, almost predominantly Aussie presses from a collection that I bought a little while ago, with a couple of exceptions, including the kickoff record. I've already done the first list from this week, which is a very wide-ranging genre list featuring the Pogues and Jamiroquai and Donna Summer. This list is quite different. This is very much a classic rock and pop list. But I'm going to start with a sealed record. This is the 2025 repress of Siamese Dream, the Smashing Pumpkins. As you can see, it is still sealed. The reason I have this is I ordered this repress from Amazon because I didn't like the contrast cover from the previous re-releases up until now. It had this weird kind of purple-orange thing, and I just really like this sleeve, and so I was hanging out for this repress because I don't want to spend the money for an original from the 90s because it's stupidly expensive. And I really like the sleeve, so I ordered one on pre-order a while back on Amazon, and they sent me two. Now they charged me for both, so I'm just going to charge the asking price that they charged me, which was $65. So this is still sealed, $65, Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream. Why lead off with this, even though it's not typically what we do here at Shortcuts? I think we have to because of the legacy of this record, and I think undeniably, maybe, actually, I don't know if I would say undeniably, but in the argument for the most influential record of the 90s, over and above your Nirvanas and others, I think that Billy Corgan's style of layered perfectionist guitar orchestration was revolutionary and still remains so, and is massively influential. Oh, and has been since it was released. I can still remember the first time I heard Today. Today might be the greatest day. I mean, it was arresting even back then. I remember buying the CD and I was in my halls of residence and just like, what the hell? That bass lead into Cherub Rock. Just how delicate yet completely beautiful Disarm was. I don't know. It's one of those records. I played my repress on Friday evening, and I enjoyed it very much. It is as loud and as dramatic as you would want it to be, and of course, it honors the original sleeve, which is what I wanted. It did need a bit of a clean, but it was pretty good. I remember talking to a friend of mine based in the US who had the early US, maybe even the first press, the vinyl of this record from the 90s. And I remember him always complaining about how noisy it was. I didn't find this noisy at all. It's just a benchmark record. I often wonder who they were. I mean, the weird corollary with Nevermind, with the baby, and who was that person in this, and similarly this classic record. Who are these two young lasses? Kind of, they look like the closest childhood friends. I wonder if they still are. Yeah, brilliant album. My God, what a record. Not my favorite on the list though. My favorite on the list is probably the next one, but I don't think anyone else will agree with me when you see what is on this list. In fact, for those of you who are interested in this, I would love to know, as we go through this list, what people's favorite records are, because this list is interesting. I think I would vote for this. This is Steve McQueen by Prefab Sprout. Now, my mum sent me over some records. In fact, she may even have brought them with her the last time she visited Australia, which is a while ago. My mum bought me my first music system. I can't remember what age I was, 14 or 15. And it was an all-in-one and had a CD player, which is what I really wanted. I also had the double tape deck, like everything did, but it had a record player on the top. And even back then, I realized that the records sounded better than the CDs through this particular system. And so when I could, I would buy the records. Now, so what age would I have been? So this would be late 80s. And she kept some of them. They stayed at home until she brought them here. And it had stuff like the Wonder Stuff, Hup. It had Belfast Child, Simple Minds. It had Chains of Love, Sowing the Seeds of Love, Tears for Fears. And it also had Jordan the Comeback by Prefab Sprout, which I was listening to not this weekend, but the weekend before. And even though they compressed 50 minutes of music onto a single record, it still sounds great. This was maybe their breakthrough album. They were formed in Durham in 1978. Paddy McAloon was the songwriter. And this is all about sophisticated pop arrangements, delicate, airy, but still deeply melodic and arresting. And Steve McQueen featured the first song of Prefab Sprout that I ever heard, called When Love Breaks Down. And this leads to, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. This leads to Aztec Camera. It leads to Belle and Sebastian, and that American kind of almost delicate acoustica that happened in the 90s. A lot of this fed through from Prefab Sprout. I just love the guitar work on this album. I love the artwork. I love Appetite. I love Goodbye Lucille Part 2. I think this is one of the best albums of the 90s. Steve McQueen's Prefab Sprout. Their brilliant album, Steve McQueen. Okay, third on this list is Weird Al Yankovic in 3D. There he is, coming out towards you in 3D, featuring the hit single Eat It, which won a Grammy, by the way, and absolutely astonishing stuff. King of Suede and Polkas on 45. Look, this was his pitch perfect satirical takedown of everything that was pompous about music at the time. Eat It being a quite marvelous takeoff of Beat It. King of Suede, kind of like a bit of a ska thing. Anyway, it became more than just a novelty act, and so there you have it. Now, here we go. Let's get into the meat of this. We have George Michael's Faith. As I said, those of you who want to play this game, what's your favorite of this list? Is it this? George Michael's Faith spawned so many hit singles. Faith, Father Figure, I Want Your Sex, Hand to Mouth, Monkey, Kissing a Fool. A quintessential 80s pop phenomenon. Absolute peak GM, peak everything. I'm pretty sure this has all the little excerpts and stuff there. It's got the little poster with the lyrics. It's in really nice condition. The Japanese press of this is really expensive, but the Aussie press is still really good, and this will be competitively priced. You've got funk, gospel, certainly soul. This is a magnificent album. Is it your favorite from the list. Let's keep going. Is it this? Tracy Chapman's debut album. Now, this has been repressed recently, and if ever an album needed a repress, that this is in a weird category because the 80s versions of this record are fabulous. Some of the best sounding records ever. Like, they're so good. I haven't heard the repress. I have no need for it because I have this. I have the Aussie version of this. It is amazing. It sounds so great. Everything about this, talking about Revolution, Fast Car, Across the Lines, that first side all the way to Baby, Can I Hold You Tonight is out there, spectacularly brilliant. What an artist, what an album. I wonder who'll choose that record as their favourite from this list. I also have its follow-up, Crossroads. Now, Crossroads is a bit, I suppose, I'm not going to say unfairly, and it's not maligned, it's just not as appreciated, but it is still a really personal and deep and melodic and warm album. And again, the Aussie press of this is really lovely, really, really lovely. I know it doesn't have the clout of the self-title, but it still deals with justice and love and personal struggle. And there's a lot to love. A lot to love. The title track, by the way, she still plays every time she plays live. All right, who's going to choose this? Breakfast in America, Supertramp. This UK band formed 1969. This was their absolute nailed on, holy crap, we've landed record. 1979. Rick Davis's bluesier sound. You got Roger Hodgson's amazing voice. Became one of the biggest selling albums of all time. But arguably, this one here, which was, I think, maybe one or two before Breakfast America, is as good, if not better. I don't know. Produced by Ken Scott. Whilst it didn't pick up the Grammys that Breakfast in America did, I think it's really warm, it's really inviting, crisp, super fun record. Lots of deep cuts, maybe not obviously the hits of Breakfast, but you've got Ain't Nobody But Me, Lady, Easy Does It. I don't know. I think this one, I think I like this one more. All right. The challenge will keep coming. Who's going to pick this as their favourite? Queen's Greatest Hits. Is this the only Queen record you need? I think it probably is. I don't have many Queen records. I've got A Night at the Opera, only because I got the Vinyl Me Please press. I don't know. I do like News of the World. I will say that, with the incredible robot sleeve, and I think that's a really fun album. But Queen's Greatest Hits is legendary for a reason. It's critic proof. At the time, compilations weren't really reviewed. It wasn't really a thing, but they had to go with this one. This cemented Queen is like, up there with Led Zepp of the album or the band of the 70s. Anyway, and the 80s. So you've got Another One Bites the Dust all the way through to Under Pressure with my hero, David Bowie. What a great song that is, by the way, as well. All right, who's going to pick this one as their favourite? Songs from the Big Chair, Tears for Fears. Out of Bath in England. This has got the inner and everything you need. Vinyl's in really nice condition. Shout, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Head Over Heels. Amazing album. Number one, both sides of the Atlantic. I don't think this cover does it justice. I think it's a better album than this sleeve suggests. Fantastic record. I suppose this might be a lot of people's favourite. Again, this is one of these records where the Australian pressing sounds really, really nice. I wonder some of these records from the 80s, and there's another one to come in a second. I wonder if they use some of the UK parts, because I've got UK presses of these, and I can't tell the difference between the UK and the Aussie with some of these big pop kind of legendary records of the 80s. They still sound really good on Aussie. I think that Aussie vinyl in the 80s is, I think, more comparable to the UK than the 70s. I think in the 70s there's a clear difference, but maybe not so much in the 80s. Okay, who's going to pick this? Peter Gabriel's So, when his career took this bold, highly accessible, massively commercially successful turn. Red Rain, Sledgehammer, Don't Give Up, That Voice Again, In Your Eyes, Mercy Street. What an album. So, Peter Gabriel. Another one of these records with the monochrome sleeve. There was a thing in the 80s of monochrome 80s goodness. Kate Bush did it too. There's a whole bunch of them. Who's going to pick So? I mean, I suppose So would probably be slightly behind Steve McQueen by Prefab Sprout by me. Maybe my second favourite on this list. All right. What about this? Led Zeppelin's sleeper classic Presence, recorded 1975, just a few days after Robert Plant had suffered a really serious car accident. But this is probably their most hard rocking record since Led Zeppelin 2. Not as many acoustic interludes, but has something to it. I think this record's grown in reputation over these, I think because of Achilles' Last Stand and T for One, but it's really fun. Maybe one of their purest rock records. Would that be some people's favourite? I don't know. Or Zenyatta Mondata, The Police. Is this their best? Don't Stand So Close to Me When the World is Running Down. Canary in a Coal Mine, The Do. Oh, maybe this was their best. Maybe the debut. I don't know. But who's going to pick that one? This is a perfect bridge between their earlier kind of popular work and then maybe the more sophisticated pop of Synchronicity, which was to come. I think it's the best, but what do I know? I know this is not the Talking Heads' best, but a lot of people love this record. This is Little Creatures, and she was Road to Nowhere, of course. Television Man, it's one of my favorite deep cuts of theirs. Really well critically reviewed, this record. There's the insert. Quite approachable, not as challenging as the Eno-esque work from the early 80s and late 70s, but really, really fine record indeed. I don't think anyone's going to pick this, but I have it on here anyway. This is Paul McCartney's Tug of War. I mean, this following the murder of John Lennon, senseless murder of John Lennon, McCartney made Tug of War. I think this is one of his better records. Definitely a more personal statement than what's come afterwards. I know it features Ebony and Ivory with Stevie Wonder, which isn't maybe my favorite song of his, but it does feature Take It Away and Here Today, which was his tribute to John Lennon, which I still think is really, really, really something. George Martin produced, which I think is also part of what makes it a really rewarding experience compared to some of his records. What about this? I Dream, The Dream of Blue Turtles by Sting. After leaving the Police, this was the record that launched him, and there's the insert. 1985, lots of really incredible jazz musicians on this record, like Branford Marsalis and Kenny Kirkland. So Fortress Around Your Heart, The Politically Charged Russians. A lot of people love that record, but I don't know if anyone will vote for it. This might get a vote or two. This is Mariah Carey's debut album from 1990. Look at her on the back sleeve. Really, Vision of Love, what a debut single. Tommy Mottola from Columbia Records just scored the biggest of home runs with this. Vision of Love. Love Takes Time Someday. I Don't Want to Cry. And really, really nice copy. There's the inner as well. I don't know how many squazillions that sold. Multiple Grammy winner as well. And then finally, and no one will pick this, but I put it on here just for fun. This is Rockin' the US of A. Double LP of some of the. It starts off with Rock Around the Clock, Bill Haley and the Comets, the Birds, Tambourine Man, Eve of Destruction, Horse with No Name, Respect, Dock of the Bay, When a Man Loves a Woman, Fire and Rain, all the way up to Rocky Mountain Way, Joe Walsh, Listen to the Music, the Doobies, Eagles, Bill Withers, Ain't No Sunshine, Sweet Home Alabama, Knocking on Heaven's Door, Don't Stop, Fleetwood Mac, Ricky Don't Lose That Number, Steely Dan, More Than a Feeling, Boston, Meat Loaf, Toto. This is the best music of America, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. And it is more about nostalgia than rarity, more about fun and laughter than, squinting your brow and studying what you're hearing. So this is why I put it on to finish. There we have it. That's the classic rock and pop list. Please let me know, what is your favorite record from this list? Is it Mariah? Is it Talking Heads? Is it Led Zepp? Is it The Police? Is it Peter Gabriel's So? Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair, Queen's Greatest Hits, Supertramp, Crisis What Crisis, Breakfast in America? Is it Tracy Chapman? Is it George Michael, Faith? Is it Weird Al Yankovic? I hope some people choose that. Is it my favourite Prefab Sprout one? Is it Sammy's Dream? There we go. The price list for this bundle will go out 9 p.m. Wednesday, 13th of August, Sydney time. As always, if you would like to be in the price list, drop me an email, shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com. Thank you.